Mrs. Meeta Fadke back here to teach part 2 of chapter 5 Syllogism. Here we will learn the rules of categorical syllogism. There are basic three rules of categorical syllogism. The first is the rule of structure, the second is the rule of distribution of terms, and third is the rule of quality. The first rule, that is the rule of structure, has two sub-rules. That is, there must be three and only three propositions in an argument. And the second sub-rule is there must be three and only three terms in an argument. Now we come to the rule of distribution of terms. It has three sub-rules. The first is that the middle term must be distributed at least once in the premises. The second is the subject term cannot be distributed in the conclusion unless it is distributed in the minor premise. Third, the predicate term cannot be distributed in the conclusion unless it is distributed in the measure premise. Now we come to the third rule, the rule of quality, in which we have two sub-rules. The first is no conclusion can be drawn from two negative premises. And the second is if one premise is negative, then the conclusion must be negative. When any of these rules is violated, the syllogistic argument is said to be invalid and it commits a fallacy. Now let us go in detail of each rule. The first rule is the rule of structure. We know what structure means. The structure of any argument means the pattern in which it is presented. Now let us see the first rule. 1.1 Syllogism in general must contain three and only three propositions, that is, two premises and a conclusion, total three propositions, not more and not less. Let us take an example. All animals are wild. All tigers are animals. Therefore, all tigers are wild. In this argument, we have two premises. The first is all animals are wild. Second is all tigers are animals. And the conclusion is therefore all tigers are wild. So this argument has only three propositions. So it's an categorical syllogism. Now we come to the next. When one violates the rule 1.1 of the rule of structure, that is, the syllogism in general must contain three and only three propositions, then the fallacy of argument of Sorites is committed. Let us take an example. All buildings are tall. All trees are tall. Some men are tall. Therefore, some men are buildings. In this argument, we have three premises. The first is all buildings are tall. The second is all trees are tall. The third is some men are tall. And the conclusion is therefore some men are buildings. So total we have four propositions in this argument. So this argument ceases to be a categorical syllogism. That means it is not a categorical syllogism and it commits the fallacy of argument of Sorites. Let us come to the second sub-rule of the rule of structure. 1.2 There must be three and only three terms in a categorical syllogism. That is, we have already studied them. That is the minor or the subject term, the second is the measure or the predicate term, and the third is the middle term. Let us take an example. All flowers are red. Some flowers are roses. Therefore, some roses are red. In this argument, let us see what is the minor term. Now we can see that roses, the word roses is the subject of the conclusion. So it will be the minor term. Read. The word read is the predicate of the conclusion. So obviously it will be the major term. And the word flowers is the one which occurs in both the premises. It's a common element between the two premises and does not occur in the conclusion. So obviously it will be the middle term. So there are three terms in it. So it fits in the rule of categorical syllogism. Now when one violates the rule 1.2 of the rule of structure, that is, there must be three and only three terms in a categorical syllogism, then the fallacy of four terms or equivocation is committed. Generally, the fallacy of equivocation is committed when any term in an argument, that is the middle term or the subject term or the predicate term, may have more than one meaning, that is when it is ambiguous. Let us take an example. All happiness depends on the liver. Some people donate liver. Therefore, some people donate happiness. Here, the word liver is the middle term because it is the common element between the two premises which occurs only in the premises and not in the conclusion. But in the first premise, that is the major premise, it is it means the person who lives, and in the second premise, that is the minor premise, the word liver means the organ of the body. So the word liver is ambiguous word. It has more than one meaning in both the premises. So obviously the middle term will be considered as 2 plus one subject term and plus one predicate term. Total we will have 4 terms. So this argument is invalid, and the fallacy committed here is the fallacy of 4 terms or the fallacy of equivocation. We also call it as ambiguous middle, fallacy of ambiguous middle. Now we come to the second rule of the rule of distribution of terms. But before we go to this rule, we must understand the distribution of terms in categorical propositions. We have already studied 4 types of categorical propositions and their distribution of terms in the previous chapter. Let us revise. A, which is universal affirmative proposition, in which the subject term is distributed whereas the predicate term is undistributed. E proposition, this is universally negative. In this, both the subject term and the predicate term are distributed. Now we come to I proposition, which is particular affirmative, in which the subject term and the predicate term are undistributed. And in O proposition, that is particular negative proposition, the subject term is undistributed whereas the predicate term is distributed. Now we come to the rule 2, rule of distribution of terms. The first rule of it is 2.1. The middle term must be distributed at least once in the premises. Now we already know what a middle term is. A middle term is the common element between the two premises, and it occurs only in the premises and not in the conclusion. The main function of the middle term is to relate the subject term and the predicate term, to connect them. And this function is very important to draw a conclusion. If it does not do its function of connection between the subject and predicate, then no conclusion can be drawn from the premises. Let us take an example. All games are enjoyable. Second, Some games are interesting, therefore, some interesting things are enjoyable. Now, to see whether the terms are distributed or not, first thing we will have to find out what type of proposition each premise and conclusion is. The first premise has the word all, so it's an A proposition. The second premise has the word some, so it's an I proposition. Therefore, some. Again, the conclusion has some in it, so it's an I proposition. Now, we know that in A proposition, the subject term is distributed, whereas the predicate term is undistributed. In I proposition, both the subject term and the predicate term are undistributed. So now games, which is the middle term, as it is the common element between the two premises. So games in the first premise, that is the major premise, is the subject of A proposition, so it's distributed, whereas games in the minor premise, that is the second premise, is the subject of I proposition, and therefore it is undistributed. But since games, the middle term, is distributed at least once, so it fits in the rule. When one violates the rule of 2.1 of the rule of distribution of terms, that is, the middle term must be distributed at least once in the premises, then the fallacy of undistributed middle is committed. Let us take an example. All tables are wooden. All chairs are wooden. Therefore, all chairs are tables. Now, to find out whether the term is distributed or not, we will have to find out what type of proposition each premise and the conclusion is. Since all the propositions, that is the premises as well as the conclusion, has the word all in it, so all the three, that is both the premises and the conclusion, will be A propositions. Now the first thing you have to remember, that in A proposition the subject term is distributed, whereas the predicate term is undistributed. Now we'll have to check what word is the middle term. Now here the word wooden is the middle term, since it's a common element between the two premises and does not occur in the conclusion. Now let us check whether it is distributed or not. The word wooden is the predicate of A proposition in both the premises, that is the major premise as well as the minor premise. So in both the premises it is undistributed. Since the middle term wooden is undistributed in both the premises, the middle term cannot do the function of relating the subject term and the predicate term. So no conclusion can be drawn from such an argument. So this argument where the conclusion has been drawn is wrong and the argument will be invalid. The fallacy committed here will be the fallacy of undistributed middle. Now we come to the rule 2, the second rule of the rule of distribution of terms. 2.2, no term can be distributed in the conclusion unless it is distributed in the premise. This is because if a term is distributed in the conclusion but is not distributed in the premise, then we know that the conclusion will go beyond the premises. And when the conclusion goes beyond the premises, the argument is invalid because the premises do not imply the conclusion in such an argument. Let us take an example. No intelligent persons are cowards. All Indians are intelligent. Therefore, no Indians are cowards. Now in this argument, let us see what is the subject term and what is the predicate term. Before we understand the subject term and predicate term, we will see what type of proposition each premise and conclusion is. The first premise has the word no in it. So the measure term so the measure premise is E proposition. The second premise has the word all in it. So the minor premise, that is the second premise, is A proposition. And the conclusion again has the word no in it. So obviously it is E proposition. Now we know that in E proposition, both the subject term and the predicate term are distributed. Whereas in A proposition, the subject term is distributed and the predicate term is undistributed. So now let us see what is the subject term. Indians in the conclusion is the subject of the conclusion, and it lies in the second premise, that is the minor premise. So now let us see. Indians in the conclusion is the subject of E proposition, so it is distributed. And in the second premise, that is the minor premise, it is the subject of A proposition, there also it is distributed. Now, cowards is the predicate of the conclusion, and it is also the predicate of E proposition, so it is distributed in the conclusion. Now it lies in the first premise, that is the measure premise, where it is the predicate of E proposition again, so it's distributed in the premise also. So both the subject term and the predicate term are distributed in the conclusion as well as in the premises. So this argument fits in the rule. Now, when one violates the rule 2.2 of the rule of distribution of terms, that is, no term can be distributed in the conclusion unless it is distributed in the premise, then the fallacy of illicit process is committed. We know that the conclusion has two terms, the subject term and the predicate term. So there are two types of fallacies committed of the fallacy of illicit process. The first is the fallacy of illicit minor. This is committed when the subject term is distributed in the conclusion but undistributed in the minor premise. Let us take an example. All large things are baskets. All baskets are delicate things. Therefore, all delicate things are large. Now let us see what type of proposition each premise and conclusion is. Since we have the word all in all the three propositions, that is in both the premises and the conclusion, so both the premises will be A and the conclusion also will be A. Now let us see the word uh, that is the subject term. Delicate things is the subject of the conclusion. It lies in the second premise, so the second premise will be the minor premise. Now let us see whether it is distributed or not. Before that, we must know that in A proposition the subject term is distributed, whereas the predicate term is undistributed. So in the conclusion, delicate things is the subject of A proposition, so it's distributed in the conclusion, but it is the predicate of A proposition in the premise, so it's undistributed in the minor premise. Hence this argument is invalid because the conclusion goes beyond the premise, that is, the premises do not imply the conclusion, so the argument is invalid. And the fallacy committed here is the fallacy of illicit minor. Now we come to the second fallacy of illicit process, that is the fallacy of illicit measure. This is committed when no term can be distributed in the conclusion unless it is distributed in the measure premise. Here also, if the term, that is the predicate term, is distributed in the conclusion but not distributed in the premise, then the premises will not imply the conclusion and the argument will be invalid. Let us take an example. All clever people are successful. No boys are clever. Therefore, no boys are successful. In this argument, let us see what type of proposition each premise and conclusion is. The first premise, that is the measure premise, has the word all. So it's a proposition. The second premise that has the word no. So it is E proposition. And the conclusion has the word no. So it's an E proposition. Now we already know that in A proposition the subject term is distributed whereas the predicate term is undistributed. And in E proposition, both the subject term and the predicate term are distributed. Now let us see the word successful is the predicate term of the conclusion, and it is also the predicate term of E proposition, so it is distributed in the conclusion. Now it lies in the first premise, that is called as the measure premise, and it is the predicate of a proposition in the measure premise. So obviously it is undistributed in the premise. So here, since the conclusion, in the conclusion the predicate is distributed whereas in the premise it is undistributed, so the premises do not imply the conclusion and the argument is invalid. Thus the fallacy committed here is the fallacy of illicit measure. Now we come to the rule 3, the rule of quality. Here we have again two sub rules. That is, the first rule is 3.1. That is, no conclusion can be drawn from two negative premises. Here we cannot draw any conclusion because we know that there are two types of negative propositions, that is universal negative and particular negative. And in negative propositions, we know that one class is excluded from another class. When two premises asserting exclusion, then they cannot justify the relation between the premises and the conclusion. So the argument will be invalid. So let us take an example. No fruits are vegetables. Some vegetables are not leafy. Here the first premise has the word no in it, and so it's an E proposition. The second premise has the word some not in it, so it's an O proposition. So the measure premise is universal negative and the minor premise is particular negative. Both these premises are negative premises. So both these premises cannot justify the relation between the premises and the conclusion, since both these premises assert exclusion. Now we will go to the violation of this rule. When one violates the rule 3.1 of the rule of quality, that is, no conclusion can be drawn from two negative propositions, the fallacy of negative premises is committed. Let us take an example. Some dogs are not black. No dogs are cats. Therefore, some cats are not black. Now here again we will have to check what type of proposition each premise and conclusion is. The first premise, that is the measure premise, has the word some not in it, so it's an O proposition. The second premise, that is the minor premise, has the word no in it, so it's an E proposition. Both these premises are negative premises. The first is particular negative and the second is universal negative. Since both these premises are negative, they assert exclusion. So they cannot justify the relation between the premise and the conclusion. So whatever conclusion you are drawn, some cats are not black, is wrong. and the argument is invalid. So here the fallacy committed is the fallacy of negative premises. Now we come to the second rule of the rule of quality, that is 3.2. When either of the premises is negative, the conclusion must be negative. Example, some girls are not intelligent, all girls are beautiful. Therefore, some beautiful people are not intelligent. In the first premise, we have the word some not, so it's an O proposition, particular negative. Second has the word all, so it's an A proposition, but universal affirmative. And the conclusion has the words some not in it, so it's an O proposition again, that is particular negative. Now, since the first premise is negative, one of the premises is negative, the conclusion has to be negative, and it is negative. So, obviously, it fits in this rule of categorical syllogism. Now, when one violates the rule 3.2 of the rule of quality, that is, when either of the premises is negative, the conclusion must be negative, then the fallacy of drawing an affirmative conclusion from a negative premise is committed. Let us take an example. No students are regular. Some clever girls are students. Therefore, some clever girls are regular. Here in the first premise the word no is used, so it's an E proposition. In the second premise word some is used, so it's an I proposition. In the conclusion word some is used, so it's an I proposition. So the first premise is universal negative, the second premise is particular affirmative, and the conclusion is particular affirmative. Since one of the premise is negative, the conclusion must be negative. But since the first premise is negative, that is it's an E proposition, yet the conclusion is I, that is particular affirmative. So here the argument is invalid, and the fallacy committed here is the fallacy of drawing an affirmative conclusion from a negative premise is committed. Now let us brush up with all the rules. That is, first the rule of structure. The first sub rule is that the categorical syllogism must contain three and only three propositions, and when this rule is violated, then the fallacy of argument of so rights is committed. The second sub rule is that the categorical syllogism must contain three and only three terms, and when this rule is violated, then the fallacy of four terms or equivocation is committed. Then we come to the second sub rule, the rule of distribution of terms, in which the first rule is that the middle term must be distributed at least once in the premises. When this rule is violated, then the fallacy of undistributed middle is committed. Then the second sub rule is that the subject term is not distributed in the conclusion unless it is distributed in the minor premise. When this rule is violated, then the fallacy of illicit minor is committed. Third is that the predicate term is not distributed in the conclusion unless it is distributed in the measure premise. When this rule is violated, then the fallacy of illicit measure is committed. Now we come to the third rule, the rule of quality, in which the first sub rule is no conclusion can be drawn from two negative premises. When this rule is violated, then the fallacy of negative premises is committed. The second sub rule is that when either of the premises is negative, the conclusion must be negative. When this rule is violated, then the fallacy of drawing an affirmative conclusion from a negative premise is committed. Thank you.